car's like been through the family, and it's from like 2002.
Oh,
So
no, it's not.
It's not under warranty.
No.
2002, huh? I remember that year.
Oh boy, do I.
What happened? What came out that year?
Oh.
It's like Diablo 2?
That was when I was
Or its expansion.
Wait, Diablo 2?
Or its expansion set.
Oh my god. When
2002? Yeah, I was in college, and I lost most of college to Diablo 2, so it had to have been sometime near 2000.
Oh man, I am so bad at dates.
The GameCube was around.
The original came out in 2000. The expansion set came out in 2001, so actually a little earlier than I thought. But
Oh man. Do you know what just happened just now in my mind as I conflated 2001 with 2005? Because I thought just like, oh yeah, I would have just graduated college. But no, I would have just graduated high school is what happened there. Oh dear. I have lost so many years of my life. Lovis Jr. is streaming Lifeline.
I'm sure.
What?
I should be streaming something else.
I think I saw you playing Elder Scrolls earlier.
That's right. That's what I'm
How's that? How's that going?
doing. That's okay. I'm still figuring it out right now, but we'll see.
I played
It's been an hour.
I played the the beta for that for like 20 seconds.
I did about that.
Yeah.
hey, it's
I
an
got
MMO.
a tutorial.
Ouch.
Well,
There's some that are good,
there were
like Star Wars: The Old Republic.
We're sure this isn't a paid advertisement on the FOXHOUND stream.
I will take money for literally anything.
Fair enough.
Um,
Polo will maintain the integrity of the channel.
Polo, what's your favorite MMO? One time, so back in college, I was really excited about the Matrix Online.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well that's just it. I had never played another MMO before. Actually, I didn't have a computer even then that could run it. And the only reason I was going to get to play it, I'm going to move the camera a little bit, was that a friend of mine agreed to let me install the beta on his machine so I could try it out. And it became like this event, like in my circle of friends, where it was like, it had been so talked up that Brennan's finally going to get to see the fully immersive world of the Matrix Online. Yes, I very nearly wept with disappointment. It was so bad.
Yeah, I never tried that. I just heard that like story characters canonically died in the MMO, and I'm like, that's an odd choice.
It wasn't even so much that, and it wasn't so much that it was like B level 2002 3D graphics. It was that it was in this big empty city with two types of mission quests that you did over and over and over again, regardless of which faction you aligned yourself with. And you start with every starting MMO character's wardrobe instead of the sick, I imagine myself in a trench coat. It's the Matrix. Yeah. I shouldn't have to buy a trench coat.
Yeah.
I'm playing the Matrix.
You also shouldn't have to buy weapons, really.
It was really weird. And yet at the same time, at level 1, I was fighting level 1 agents. And winning! Oh god, it was not great. And so very quickly I just like started blubbering on the floor, and the guy whose computer it actually was like, well, I'll go ahead and play this. And he discovered that you could summon a, like if you got a cosmetic item that I think that I had because I had signed up for the beta so early, just mash and refresh on that webpage. He had like the ability to summon like a guard, but it was like the font was weird, and so they decided it was just a man named Guad who looked just like your character, and so he just like took off all of his clothes, and then there were two of him, and then he would just give him man hugs in the city plaza.
My own clothes.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that was the Matrix.
The precursor to Goldshire.
Yeah, that's how the game, that's how the story ended.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Oh well.
Today's mystery is the death of a Transylvanian count. I'm not making this up. We're going on a Ron Perlman movie. We're gonna find some goddamn bloodsuckers. Maybe, I don't know. We get sent on some twists and turns, There's no telling just what is going to happen. But I'm willing to bet that maybe we'll die. That'd be a twist, huh? We just die in the middle of it and then we're ghosts for the rest? Or vampires. Maybe we're thralls. Or, excuse me, maybe we're dampiers. Yeah, that's a word. I remember it. Saturday, September 24th, 1898. Over here, Wiggins. Holmes' familiar voice comes to us from the shore of the Thames, near Tower Bridge. Next to him is the unmistakable silhouette of Lestrade, accompanied by 2 policemen. Unmistakable, of course, because he's 10 feet tall and has 8 legs. Their attention is directed towards an oblong box, which is hard to see in the thick London fog. Join us, my friends.
Polo, join us.
Hello. Why don't you like vampires? Man, that was terrifying. I should be playing much creepier music. Here, hang on. I can manage this. Yeah. We quickly approach the little group, but only Holmes seems to notice our arrival. Once near the box, we finally understand what we're dealing with. A coffin. And opened. With a body! Examine the corpse, Wiggins, and give me a report, orders Holmes with a learned tone. Without a word, Wiggins begins his work, pulls out a magnifying glass from his pocket, borrows one of the constable's lamps, and leans over the coffin. Holmes and Lestrade light a cigarette and observe Wiggins going over the coffin at length, lighting each corner before paying attention to the body. Wiggins lifts one of the body's hands and examines its nails. He then opens the deceased's left eye with his thumb and index finger, shines the lamp into it, then does the same with the mouth, then passes the lantern over the body until he reaches the blood-covered chest. A wooden stake is stuck in the victim's heart. Wiggins' hand grazes the stake, but he immediately pulls it away as if he had burned himself. He finally looks at the bottom of the coffin. He reaches in a hand and pulls it out with a handful of dirt, which slips through his fingers to fall back into the bottom of the coffin. Well, Wiggins, what do you have to tell us? I'd say the victim's been dead for 2 to 3 hours. Good. The cause of death is the stake stuck in the heart. A marlin spike, interrupts one of the policemen. It's a tool used by sailors. I'd say the victim was unconscious when he was stabbed. Excellent, Wiggins. That's also what I included. I don't see how that's important, grumbles the enormous spider. I don't know the importance of that detail, but it's a fact. The facts are the bricks with which we can build our reasoning. Continue, Wiggins. Explain your deductions to Lestrade. I examined his nails. The nails, Lestrade! How many times have I told you about their importance? A man's nails tell us so many things about them. I should write a monograph on the topic. Continue, Wiggins. A death of that type is very painful, and even though it's fast, it isn't instantaneous. The victim would have struggled, would have tried to remove the stake from his chest. There's no traces of blood on his hands, and even if they had been... Lestrade turns down the orchestra, standing nearby on the Thames. But there's no traces of blood on his hands, and even if they had been clean for one reason or another, there would have remained traces under his nails. It's, however, possible for a group of men to have held him down during the murder. But his jaw is relaxed, and there's no sign of biting on his tongue. A man struggling for his life stiffens his muscles and, in most cases, will bite himself. The jaw would have remained rigid after death. Moreover, our victim has a wound at the back of his skull. He's a man in his 40s, I'd say. According to his labels, his shirt is from London, but his suit is from Bucharest, and his shoes are from Rome. That's all I can tell about the victim. I don't know why there's dirt in the coffin. Did I miss anything, Mr. Holmes? No, Wiggins, that was good work. Lestrade has a few pieces of information which could be of use to you. He turns towards Lestrade, clearly letting him know that it's his time, finally, to speak. Very well. Lestrade pulls out a web-covered notepad, from which he begins to read. Constable Willis answered the call from one of the residents around 7:30 this morning. Found the coffin in this state, beached on the shore. No one else in the neighborhood noticed anything unusual. According to the papers found on the victims, it was the Count d'Albert, a maritime agent. A count? Asks Wiggins. Yes, here's his card. Count d'Albert, maritime agent, 27 Chesapeake, London, EC. Wiggins is on the verge of handing the card back to Lestrade. Keep it, Wiggins. He has a whole set on him. We won't need them anymore. Have you found anything else? Only this loading bill half stuck in the coffin. Lestrade hands Wiggins a crumpled and soggy piece of paper. The information about the destination is missing. The paper has been too badly damaged by the water. This document attests that a coffin containing human remains was processed by customs yesterday. We can see a signature at the bottom, TF. The rest has been erased. 2 men in white frocks come to take the body away to the morgue for an autopsy. Holmes leaves the circle of detectives and heads to the slippery shore of the Thames. Wiggins and Lestrade join Holmes, looking in the water of the river. Water of the river that has caught his attention. Excuse me. A disconcerting case, isn't it, Holmes? Says Lestrade. Not really, Inspector. The day is quite advanced, but only 1 or 2 insignificant details still elude us. Let's hope we'll have learned more before night falls. What do you say, Wiggins? Well, I don't know, Mr. Holmes. All this seems a bit sinister to me. Do you remember that book on vampires that came out last year? Dracula by Bram Stoker. Excuse me, Stoker. I always do that. Bram Droker. Yes, I read it. You think we're dealing with vampires, Wiggins? Lestrade chokes. Vampires? You're completely bonkers. I don't have time to hunt down vampires. I, for one, have a murderer to catch. The inspector heads down on 8 determined steps, shaking his big, shaggy head. Holmes and Wiggins share a look and then burst out laughing.
Couple of questions. Where? Couple of questions. Where was the wound he had on the back?
Back of the skull.
Back of the skull.
Yup.
Okay. And what was his title on the business cards? Marine agent or something?
Maritime man. He is
Counts.
a man of the sea.
Fair.
Count d'Albert, that is D' Albert. Maritime agent. He lives at 27 EC. Excuse me, or at least has offices there.
Okay.
One more thing.
Uh-huh.
The piece of paper in there was a bill for transport of the coffin? Is that what you
Yes.
said? Okay.
For human remains stored inside the coffin.
What is the date?
Today is...
Saturday 24th.
Yes.
Oh, what month?
September.
Okay, so this is fairly soon after this.
All the newspapers have been in like second half of September so far. It's been
Yes.
really tightly spaced.
Anything of note in today's Pall Mall Gazette?
Oddly enough, I don't think so. We have, let's see,
Any word of vampires?
We have a dispatch from Serbia. Okay. Have something from Germany, Spain and the United States, education, immigration, prosperity, the development of the... Oh, this one might be interesting.
Yes.
Body disappears in Bloomsbury. Police admit to being baffled by the disappearance of a supposed corpse at the home of Malcolm Baxter at 44 Woburn Place. At approximately 9 o'clock last evening, Mary Gifford, cook and housekeeper for Mr. Baxter for several years, ran out of the house screaming for help. Constable McSwan answered her summons and ascertained that she had discovered the body of her employer on the floor in his study face down. She reported a great deal of blood on the back of his head and a bloody fireplace poker lying near the body. However, when she returned to the study accompanied by Constable McSwan, there was no sign of the body. Mr. Baxter has not been found. The fireplace poker is missing as well. Anyone with information regarding Mr. Baxter's whereabouts should inform the police at Bow Street Station.
That certainly seems related in terms of impact wounds, but I'm not sure what else.
Yeah, it's the closest I could find, though. Everything else here seems to be about foreign affairs or the labor movement or...
Well, it does seem like, you know, like the state of the body, that most likely they were struck unconscious and then staked. So.
Well, it didn't say that this fellow was staked, simply that he was struck in the back of the
Right,
head.
and then he disappeared.
And then he disappeared, yes.
Did it say when?
Oh,
Because it said this guy did the 2-3 hours.
At approximately 9 o'clock last evening. Yeah,
Alright.
it's a little-
Yeah, and then
a little off.
What's on the back of this newspaper?
Yes, the back of this
Oh,
issue
yes.
is quite notable.
It has a couple of smudgy fingerprints.
And that's it. There's no articles in the back of this paper.
Yeah, well, there was a strike according to a little note at the bottom, so due to strike action, only this part of the newspaper was printed.
Right.
It does have 2 notes: bring books back to Lomax, and buy a new razor, the gym.
Notes of Sherlock's own handwriting, no less. Or perhaps Wiggins.
Possibly.
Really?
I would assume.
I guess
It's our copy.
That's where you're getting it.
Yeah. I don't have money for a paper.
It's only 1 penny.
I don't have money for a
to
paper.
continue, somewhat relevant.
Okay.
There is a charity sale to profit for the Society of the Balkan Orphans. But I guess the most relevant part here is that the tea was being held in the honor of the Countess d'Albert. Although it doesn't really say too much more about what the D'Alberts or D'Albert,
Yeah, that's
whatever.
nice.
The Draculas.
Yeah.
Simply that there is a Lady Dracula somewhere out there.
Yes.
Unless it was our Dracula in a dress. Or excuse me, as they called it back then, a petticoat.
Petticoat. Well, we have the address for that guy, right?
I think we should absolutely follow up on that.
Indeed.
Because
It seems like what Sherlock would do.
if that's where he lived, perhaps it's where he died.
My God.
Alright. So that would be at 27 EC.
I believe so, yes. Brandon, would you like to embark on a journey to the house of a Dracula? The house of 1,000 Draculas?
27 EC?
Yep.
Yes. Boy, I thought things were crazy when the moon disappeared.
Okay. At 27 EC, my name is Bert Farrows. I've worked for
Pharaohs?
Yes.
Like several Tutankhamons?
F-A-R-R.
Oh, that's too boring.
My name is Bert Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, there we go.
I've worked for this company for 3 years now. Mr. Farrows is a robust man of roughly 5 feet 9 inches. His death is a blow.
A pyramid of a man!
Yeah. Especially since business isn't booming at the moment. When was the last time you saw Count D'Albert? Last night. He had come by to make sure the delivery for Lord Peckham was proceeding normally. I reassured him. Jennings, his private secretary, spent the entire afternoon at the customs office at Yardine's to make sure that the deliveries from the east were in order. He was really quite efficient. Can we talk to him? Well, I haven't seen him today so far. He must be quite busy considering the circumstances. He's probably with the Countess. Why did the Count put such importance on the specific delivery? Well, he wanted to take care of Lord Peckham's coffin personally. Lord Peckham is a prestigious client for our company and a friend of the Count. He had the remains of his grandfather, who died in Hungary over 50 years ago, to be brought back to this country to have him buried here. Do you know who could have killed him? No.
His grandfather.
I was like, yeah.
Old age. Oh, okay.
It was God!
The Count is a refugee. He would never stop talking about his country and his return. I suppose that when you dabble in politics, you don't only make friends.
So where was Jennings at?
Yardine's.
Yardine's.
Yes. Although
How do you spell that one?
Jardines. It's a major shipping company that we've dealt with before.
Yeah, it sounded familiar.
Okay.
But yeah, apparently today he's probably with the Countess.
So that's presumably the coffin?
That would make sense,
right?
Maybe so.
there
Maybe
anything
so.
Being prepped for transport, or the bill was for transport. Although it didn't have details about to where, right? Oh, it said it came in.
No, it said there was not information about where it was
Oh,
heading.
destination.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it was coming here from somewhere else.
Sorry, where was the article in here that was about the countess?
It was on the back of it. It was a small one up in the corner.
Ah, charity sale.
It didn't have a lot of details, but I just noticed the name and it jumped out at me.
It says it was processed by customs yesterday. So does that mean that it came in?
Read the bit about why he was so intent on it. I thought it was being loaded to send out.
Oh, maybe you're right.
Right.
Oh no, they said buried here.
Read it
Well,
out
so
loud.
Here's the info about the coffin and the murder. This document attests that a coffin containing human remains was processed by customs yesterday, and it has a signature at the bottom. too.
Okay, and that probably means it arrived. They would process it and it would still be here.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe different coffins.
Well, or
Yeah.
maybe before it arrived here and then.
Yeah, I thought the grandfather's remains were being buried here in England.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think Jardines would be a pretty appropriate follow-up for that.
Indeed. We have a.
Brandon,
I just happened to graze with my eyes a page that had like 6 entries that were like one sentence. So.
they're all "you died."
Damn it.
Well, it's evening, so I bet a lot of our usual contacts or something
Is
might
it
be
the
closed.
Jardine Matheson and Company?
Yes,
That is at 15 EC.
Let's see.
I bet Porky's awake.
15 EC.
Might be busy though.
The Helen of Troy arrived the day before yesterday and transported the coffin containing the remains of Lord Peckham's grandfather. Helen of Troy. Okay.
That's the name of the vessel, I
The
assume.
ship, right? Yeah. It's our night watchman, Frank Tatum, FT,
Perhaps.
TF.
Yes. Yes.
TF,
Yep.
who signed the release log early this morning. Yeah. The employee from Jardine, Matheson & Co. tells us. A most peculiar cargo, isn't it? Says Wiggins with a small chuckle. Well, to be honest, technically it wasn't cargo, a voice says from behind us. Oh. We turn around and face a tall and slim man wearing a captain's uniform. You see, the coffin and its resident traveled in first class. His grandson insisted on it. I'm the captain of the Helen of Troy. He extends a hand to Wiggins. Captain Jordan. Wiggins. Henry Wiggins, says Wiggins as he greets the captain. You're from the police? No, we're private investigators. Same breed, says Jordan. Wiggins ignored that barb. He pulls out his nicest smile. Pair of lips.
Rolling Stones.
The police are the same everywhere in the world, continues Jordan. You say that he traveled in first class? Asks Wiggins, trying to lead Jordan onto the topic of interest to us. Yes, heck of a story. I've transported passengers so boring they might as well have been dead before, but it's the first time a corpse got such service. I'm surprised they didn't demand that meals be served to him. You mean that coffin had its own cabin? Exactly. There's no way the upper crust gets the hold. That didn't bother the other passengers. We didn't have many, truth be told. There was only a couple, Mr. and Mrs. Stone. They remained very discreet. They seemed to be more worried about a possible storm than our strange travel companion. Did something unusual happen during the voyage? No, it was a simple trip with no incidents, just the way I like them. That's it.
High next level tabletop. It's kind of like Whitechapel in that we're working together with a map of London and trying to figure out where to go, but it's also a lot more like a choose your own adventure where at each of those different places We read a paragraph and learn a little bit about the mystery that we're trying to solve, and then decide where we're going to go next.
Any questions?
Who killed Dracula?
Who did we actually meet with originally before the captain showed up?
I don't think they named him.
They didn't
Okay.
name him. They
Okay.
said the employee.
Okay.
They only mentioned Frank Tatum. Resigned.
Not a...
And a family of snow.
Yes. Several Geodudes also aboard the boat. No stones unturned in the directory. Not a surprise there, given that I don't figure that they're a resident. But maybe we'll find them at a Flop's house or something like that. We met with Captain Jordan. There's also Frank Tatum that we could speak with.
Could be that it's not actually their names, and it was just the Medusa heads were flying around.
Yes, that is almost certainly exactly what it is. I hate those heads.
Well, we didn't find the Count's actual house yet. That's also something we could look into since we have maybe the T person to ask. The T.
What was it? 27? Oh, was that his office?
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
Oh, yes, yes.
But Lady Evelyn Fitch was the one who organized the tea party that she was at a few days ago.
I think that would be a fine idea. Lord Malcolm Fitch lives at 39 Southwest.
Okay, 39 South
Perhaps he's of some relation.
Fitch, indeed. Okay, so I'll write it after I read it. 39 Southwest.
37.
Oh, 37. Sorry.
Write it down, by God.
I did. I just wrote it down wrong. 37 Southwest.
Man, I played What Remains of Edith Fitch, and there's a part where you turn into a shark, fall down a mountain.
That shark has been there.
You sure it's 37? Because there's a 39, but there's not a 37
For what? The location?
for Fitch.
Oh. No.
39 Southwest. That's what I...
Look, that's 39.
You've fallen for my trap!
Yes.
39 Southwest. The Countess Albert is one of my good friends. I can't tell you how deeply the death of the Count was felt. Lady Fitch is, there's no other way to put it, fat. She's about 5 feet tall.
I thought that was still the person talking.
Yeah.
It's like... Allow me to describe my wife to you in the least flattering terms as I can. Thank you for coming to my house.
She's about she's about 5 feet tall and seems about as wide. She does, however, have an effervescent personality and an enthusiastic and flowing speech. Draga, the Countess, is so brave and strong. I've spent the morning with her and she seems to have held up to the blow considerably well. God only knows where she finds her strength.
What is her name?
Draga.
D-R-A-G-A?
Correct.
Like a lady dragon?
That's what it says.
This whole family tree is a bunch of Draculas.
She didn't seem saddened, asked Wiggins. Oh, that's not what I mean. Love may have been gone from her marriage, but Draga has always been present for her husband. If marriage were just a matter of love, young man, few of them would ever last more than 2 years. More than enough time for the initial bliss to fade. And did the Count have how to put it, an outside interest? A mistress? Says Lady Fitch with a small laugh. No, only intrigues linked to politics have pulled him away from his wife. And the Countess? For the first time, Lady Fitch seems to hesitate before answering. You do promise me that whatever I tell you will be in the utmost confidence, don't you? Absolutely, confirms Wiggins. Draga is a charming woman. Women, Mr. Wiggins, bloom amidst their family, their children, their husband. Draga has no children, and her husband was abandoning her for another passion. No one can live in a complete void. Draga needs love.
And a pile of gold.
What her husband wasn't giving her, she found elsewhere with another man. It's a banal story, Mr. Wiggins. Sadly banal. And who is that man?
Yeah.
Alexei Meshkov.
Ooh.
Wait a minute. Isn't that the guy from 007?
Yes.
From GoldenEye?
Despite our promise, Lady Fitch seems to give us that name unwillingly. A Russian? Yes, he claims to be the son of a count, which I doubt. To me, he seems more on the lookout for richly endowed young ladies, but I could be wrong. Why? Draga has no money. The Count might be a wily politician, but he's a terrible spendthrift. Seeing the inheritance left by his father, a large domain drowning in debt, I'd say it runs in the family. In any case, he lost that when we went into exile. Draga has her own small income, about £100, but Meshkov doesn't seem to be interested in such a meager amount. He doesn't have money. He has enough to dress fashionably and to rent an apartment in a decent neighborhood, but as with most nobles, his suits are on credit and his apartment sadly empty.
Same.
I don't trust him, but what can you do when you're in love? Lady Fitch shakes her head. Draga has love to give, and that's all she has. What are Meshkov's activities?
Draga needs love. Draga has love to give.
What are Meshkov's
Pretty sure I saw that on Tumblr.
Yeah. What are Meshkov's activities? Activities? He's content with just being. There are many men in London whose work in clubs take up most of their time, thus neglecting their wives. When one of them hosts an evening and she needs a replacement for her absent husband, she calls upon a man like Meshkov. Someone charming, able to hold a conversation, and always available, even if their reputation is somewhat stained. Do you think Meshkov could have something to do with the Count's death? No! That's absurd, answers Lady Fitch without hesitation, but she frowns. Well, I can't say as to Alexei, but Draga would have never done something like that.
Is it?
I'm wondering,
Yes.
politics.
Politics.
Intrigue. Just because I was looking back at past newspapers,
Mhm.
and I haven't seen any names that came up yet, but there's definitely a lot of, like, what seems like international intrigue with,
Yes.
like, Romanian anarchists.
It definitely seems like Eastern European turmoil is a hot
Yeah.
issue for the papes these days. That said, I think Alexei Meshkov is too good a lead not to follow up on, unless someone has something better to do with our time.
I like the idea just fine.
Alexei Meshkov can be found very close at hand. He is at... hang on, I had it. I don't usually spell Meshkov. There it is. 34 Southwest.
I believe that is yours to hold.
Here I go.
Yes, I am friend of Countess Dalbert.
Alexei Meshkov tells us. Meshkov is a tall, slim man in his 50s. He wears a Russian fashion tunic, glasses, and a fine mustache. Yellow teeth hide behind lips which never seem to smile.
I only know the Count little.
Do you know who would want to murder the Count?
Of course not.
Meshkov is indignant. Would you have any idea about the motive for the murder?
No.
Have you spoken to the Countess since the death of her husband?
I offer sympathy and support.
Where were you this morning?
In bed. I don't get up before sun starts to go down. I already talked police. Leave, please. I must prepare for rendezvous.
Damn it! You slipped through our fingers.
Well, did we look for, did we go to Jennings?
Jardines?
Jennings?
Oh, Jennings.
Who was helping during the delivery? I don't know that I would see anything.
No, we have not spoken to a Jennings yet. I think that'd be worthwhile. You go ahead.
First one.
Hopefully, there's only several in the book.
Get out of your store.
There's a Brian Jennings, but also a Sadie Jennings.
We know. Brian Jennings.
He's the assistant at Dracula Company. Dracula and Son
They're
Company.
helping do that shit.
Um,
Coffin.
Why not try Brian Jennings, and we'll see how it goes. 8 Northwest.
Eight.
Looks short. Short and fat.
We're now at number 8 Charlotte Street, facing a dark and dilapidated house. The window panes, while in good condition, are covered with a thick layer of dust. Some bats over the roof. We lash out at them with our whip and obtain 5 hearts. 2 wooden planks bar the main door's entrance.
That's 5 hearts.
No one answers when we knock.
Damn it.
I'm giving that one the middle finger and not writing it down.
The middle finger? I've never known you to be so crude.
Oh no, that's a new sub-weapon.
Oh, I see. Why not try Sadie Jennings? Excuse me, I guess you need to know where she's at. She's at 33 South.
Alright.
Wait, 33 South? Do we have just South in this book?
We're about to find out.
Where is South?
We're going off the grid. They're southwest.
Interesting.
It says South.
Well,
Yeah, that's what it says. I'm going to guess that might be a typo. Then I'm going to also note that there's no 33 Southwest, so I'm going to be confused.
alright.
Well.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
gonna keep looking to see if there's a secret section.
No, there's a lot of S's in here is the thing.
Yes.
Might be like expansion material.
But they've claimed to have done that last time, too.
Yeah.
For an
And
expansion.
then they just printed the whole book again.
Yes.
What else we got?
Draculax, the 5th dynasty.
We've got Lord Peckham. Supposedly the fellow that was having his grandfather shipped in a box. First class. That could be worthwhile.
Maybe.
Did we talk to the guy who signed TF?
We have not spoken to him. Frank Tatum.
Yeah, I like him better than the grandfather.
Well, the grandfather is dead.
Well, not the grandfather, but Peckham, I guess.
The grandson.
I don't know. I actually don't know how convinced I am that that actually is related so far. I mean, the
Which part?
The ownership of the coffin so much.
Well, don't you think it was probably actually a ruse
Maybe.
for a vampire?
No.
Really?
No.
Do you not think that it's a vampire?
I'm pretty sure it's not a vampire.
That's fascinating.
Did you learn anything from the psychic?
I'm 100%. Yes, we did learn something from the psychic. It didn't happen to be relevant, but we learned a lot. Besides, this one is literally themed around a vampiric-looking individual.
No.
An account.
Not buying it.
He found some bats.
Yeah.
Do they even live in Britain?
Those do.
Yeah.
Well, maybe. Maybe they're undead bats. I think we should talk to Frank Tatum.
Okay.
I like the idea. Where's he at?
Oh, right, I'm holding that book.
You're even poised in an expectant fashion.
How was that spelled?
Tatum?
Oh, there it is. I just skipped past it. That is at 59 Southeast.
Ah, good. An address that exists.
That is good. Okay. We knock on Frank Tatum's door. After a moment, a man with a bulbous nose, blotchy skin, and a hazy look in his eyes opens the door.
Dracula!
Yes, it was me who approved the release of that coffin from the Jardine warehouse. It happened early this morning. The sun wasn't even out yet, and it was cold enough to freeze the whiskers of a brass monkey. I was in front of the fire, in my hut, as usual, wrapped in something warm on my chair, when someone knocked at the window. I turned. It was a driver. I checked to make sure that the paperwork handed to me was in order. Then got up to open the gate. It was Count Broham.
Broham?
What's a Broham?
Bruham?
Broham?
May I?
It's B-R-O-U-G-H.
Broham. I've never heard of that word.
Broham.
I guess it's Broham.
Broham.
One time I tried to convince an uncle of mine that when rappers and such would say, "What up, Holmes?"
Yeah.
they were making reference to Sherlock Holmes. He did not believe me. A broom is a car body. It's this sort of older, like, it's a carriage. It's an old-timey carriage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so you check, make sure it works, and you're in order and got up to open the gate. It was Count Dalbert's Broham. He actually even greeted me with a hand gesture from his door.
Ah, the middle finger.
Yes. But frankly, I'd rather have the the lady who was with him pay her respects, if you know what I mean. As cold as it was, she must be prone to chest colds, if you know what I mean.
What?
Tatum gives us an obviously sustained blink. You didn't notice anything else? Interrogates Wiggins. No, nothing. But there was that trouble about the warehouse number. I barely had time to warm up again when I kid you not, this time, the Count himself ends up at my doorstep, asking me again where the coffin was precisely. I checked to make sure I got it right the first time, and gave him the warehouse number again. He left immediately, without even thanking me, as if he had all of the devils of hell at his heels. Did you see the coffin leave the area? No, I just saw the Broham leave in the fog towards London Bridge. I suppose that the coffin was inside. So warehouse numbers.
I made an important connection in the interim.
Oh?
Well, the new razor. There's an ad for it right here. Oh, no. That actually is true, by the way. You can go find where this razor is if we want to go buy the new razor.
I hope it's being sold by the psychic.
But I'm curious about the bring back, like if the books if that's actually relevant to the case.
Oh, I have no idea.
What's the line?
It says bring back books to Lomax. One of the contacts.
The librarian.
Where did the Broham leave towards?
Towards London Bridge.
Towards
Yeah,
London Bridge.
Does it say... Here's the customs
59
house.
Southeast.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I'm sorry, what is 59 Southeast? Is that where we're...
this is where we're at. Yeah, from the Jardine warehouse.
15 something.
Sure. The Jardine 15 EC. East Central.
15, right there. Lower Thames.
London Bridge.
Towards London Bridge. Okay.
And they found in the Thames, right?
By the shore of the Thames, yes. But that could have been anywhere here.
It is unfortunate we got here.
A location.
He actually greeted me with a hand gesture from his door.
Oh, we wonder if that might not, if we may not actually be able to confirm that's who it is.
Yeah. Let's see.
If the switcheroo may have already been done at that point.
Yeah, he gave a hand gesture from the door. That's hardly certain identification in the dark of night.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alright.
Very good.
The lady who was with him to pay her respects, yeah, he seemed to imply that the lady with him was very beautiful. Which couldn't fit the description of Draga.
And Mishkov, maybe.
Maybe.
One more paper.
We visited there.
There's a couple over here.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, I think he means newspapers.
Oh, newspaper, yes, sorry.
I just wanted to keep perusing them before.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely sensible.
Anything about
We visited the Count's estate, right? Where presumably the Countess would be.
We visited
No.
Fitch. We didn't go to the actual estate of where Draga lives.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think
right.
we've actually nailed that down yet.
Nope.
Oh,
That'd be a good place to go, though.
If we could find it.
What's his last name? Oh, Dalbert.
Yeah.
Dalbert.
Let me look again. Oh, yeah, it's literally right there.
What's it called? I mean, what address?
Count Dalbert.
Yeah, I'm sorry, what address?
Are you going to believe me this time?
Maybe.
60 Northwest. Do you want to know where the Countess Dalbert stays?
Oh,
Because it's a separate entry.
Oh.
interesting.
Yeah,
Let's talk to her first.
it's at 60 Northwest.
16 or 60?
60.
60 Northwest.
60
60
is
North.
the digits, not the addition necessary.
Okay. Countess.
But wait, which one do we want to talk to?
The Countess for sure, I would think. Alright, 60 Northwest, here we go.
Alright. Watch out for vampires.
Oh, they live right on Hyde Park. What a nice place.
Cute.
Alright.
The dumb bodies.
60 northwest.
Cute to die.
While the house of Count Dalbert doesn't look like what our idea of a vampire
Can we please just call him Dracula?
While the house of Count Dalbert doesn't look like what our idea of a vampire's house should look like, his wife is a very picture of it. She meets us in the...
Now, we've established what Draga's voice sounds like, so I'm going to need you to maintain some consistency with the logic of this world. Don't you give me the middle finger. I saw what you did. You foul beast.
I had lead on this finger.
There's pencils here. Jam those into your eyes.
Well, I had lead on this finger. I didn't want to wipe my eye with lead shape.
With the eraser end, dummy. It picks it up. That's how it works.
Anyway,
You're gonna drive that through my heart, aren't you?
she meets us in the poorly decorated living room, full of the princely grace which marks the people of noble blood. With their diaphanous skin, only her reddened eyes betray the loss she's just suffered. I can't do a dragon voice. I'm not.
She's not a no. It's like
dumb, like
Draga needs love.
Are you here about the death of my husband?
Yeah, there you go.
The Countess has a marked German accent in her voice. Yes, madam, answers Wiggins as he bows. Sit down.
There we
Follow
go. There we go.
The Countess's example and take our places on the seats.
Offer marriage.
I understand that it's difficult for you, but do you know who would want to harm your husband?
Me.
Jamal! Excuse me. No. He had many enemies. My husband fought for his people. It's his struggle which led to our exile, but my husband dreamed of the day when he could return to our country. Against whom was he fighting? He didn't share that part of his life with me. All Draga can say is that he'd spend all of his energy working for our return. What can you tell us about his work? My husband wasn't a businessman, as you can see, she says, making a wide gesture with her arm. He didn't earn much money. He'd make his income through friends and political allies. Since our arrival in London, I don't know much about my husband's life. Did he say where he was going this morning? He just said he had to check something. He left before dawn, which was not his habit. I suppose it had to do with his work. He had been falling increasingly behind since his former secretary resigned. What was the name of that former secretary? Joseph Acree. He was a good man. I don't know why he left all of a sudden, but that really bothered my husband.
What was his last name?
Acree. A-C-R-E-E.
Okay.
It seems clear that Countess Dalbert is not really aware of her husband's business. She pours herself a garnet-colored cocktail and shares with us a few platitudes. Then Wiggins thanks her, and we leave.
If you perhaps inquire as to the nature of mankind before throwing it down?
Yes, 100%. We should absolutely follow up with his former secretary, who is, without a doubt, turned into a wolfman. Joseph Acree can be found at 47 EC. I was really hoping that there was a Mick at the front of this last name, such that we could ensure that it was, in fact, when we visited, hi, no. Took a while to get the pieces together for that joke, but it came around. Yes, I've worked for the Count Dalbert. Count Dilbert. Joseph Acree confirms for us. Did you know he's been murdered? Asks Wiggins. Yeah, I'd heard about it. What?
Just imagine that if he hadn't, he's just hanging out. It's like, did you know that your former boss
He's
has been
dead!
murdered?
Did you know you've secretly been drinking Folgers crystals?
Yeah, I'd heard about it, even though we winked too close these days. Why did you leave your work for Dalbert? I think the Count was happy with the work. A bit too much, even. I would practically take care of everything at the office. He'd spend his time managing his political affairs. Finally, when I got a better offer, I jumped on the opportunity. Or rather, I thought it was a better offer. What's your meaning? A company in Bristol offered me twice my salary. But when I got there, no one had ever heard of me. Bad practical joke, I suppose. Dilbert had already replaced me. That's a pity, says Wiggins. I didn't make out too badly. I started a new job that pays well. Tell the truth, I received a telegram from the Count yesterday asking me to meet him at the office tomorrow morning. I suppose he wanted to hire me again, but I don't know if I would have gone back. I guess in the end, I won't be able to make that decision now. Do you know why Dalbert was at the warehouse so early in the morning? No, that seems strange to me. It might be due to his new secretary. They may have changed his habits. He would go from time to time to the customs office, but never to the warehouses or maritime companies. That was beneath his dignity. Did you know, the Countess Dalbert? Oh, I've met Draga. She'd come by time to the office. She was there in the morning of my last day, gnawing on a bone. I was embarrassed as I left when they were, while they were in the middle of an argument. On what subject? Well, money, of course.
Who's the current secretary?
Jennings.
Ah, the person we tried to find, and it was all worked up.
Yes. Although, do we try the other Jennings?
The other was a
That's the one that doesn't
address,
exist
yeah.
on the map. That's right.
Right. Jennings is definitely suspicious right now.
Yes.
Especially because it seems like someone pulled some sort of, like, essentially offered and sent that guy a fake job offer for getting out of the position.
Yeah.
That may have been done by telegraph.
Yeah, that's
Might have
The
been.
telegraph office.
There's also the customs office. They apparently know a bit more about his business. Might be able to talk a bit more to that. I like the telegraph office, though.
Yeah.
That's at 37 EC.
It's another 37. We've been to several of those. Perhaps there's a connection.
There are 37 Draculas in this story. That's EC.
Yep.
It's a no-go.
No.
There's like one.
Wait. Is it a no-go, or is it boarded up and covered in bats?
It says no. I haven't had a recent telegram for Count Dalvin.
Dang
Which
it.
is not. Which is not.
Not what we came there to ask for.
Yeah. So I'm gonna bounce that one.
Yeah,
Yes. I think the customs house would be a good one.
I agree with that.
Lois, can you double check the customs house, please?
Is it just by name?
Yeah, just in the very end of the C section.
Customs House 19 EC.
Thank you.
I should have kept my
I'm glad that you understood what kind of C section I meant.
Yes.
All right, at the customs office. Yes, I remember the coffin. Brian Jennings came in yesterday from the office of Count Dalbert.
Wait, isn't Brian Jennings that guy that did super good at
Jeopardy?
for a long time?
Maybe.
Uh,
He's a time traveler.
That's a Ken Jennings?
Oh,
It
that
is
was
Ken
Kenny,
Jennings.
right.
Damn it.
We were close.
That was in my head.
Well, I'm glad that he's not a secret Dracula. Who's Brian Jennings?
Sounds like somebody.
I don't think I was thinking of this footballer.
Probably not.
No. Alright, continue on with your tale.
Uh,
Don't lead us into the blood
He
pit.
came in yesterday from the office of Count Dalbert. Lord Peckham and the Count had asked for a special service to get the remains of his grandfather back into the country as quickly as possible. I expedited the procedure at their request to process the cargo during the day. Though Joe was much more relaxed. Who? Joseph Eckery, Dalbert's old secretary. He resigned a few weeks ago. What can you tell us about the cargo? Here's the slip. The coffin was picked up from Nicopolis by Helen Troy from a ship from the RD. The ship left on September the 14th and arrived in London on the 21st. The receiving party is Lord Peckham, 84 St. George Street. Did you inspect it? Of course. I had it opened once here. It only contained earth and bones. Gave me the chills. Must be unpleasant to room for a coffin, says Wiggin, says Louise. I looked to verify that the contents were in agreement with the packing slip, then went back to customs to finalize the paperwork. Alright, you crackpot theory. There could have been something hidden amongst the earth.
Oh,
It
most
seems
certainly.
like, because they said he'd been over somewhere else for like 50 years or something like that, and suddenly they're like, we really want
Yeah.
you're like,
That is interesting.
Yeah, I'm more interested in speaking to Lord Peckham.
It definitely seems like someone got a Cree out of the way so that this Brian Jennings character could step in. I'm sure his
Yes.
credentials were impeccable, so that he was sure to get the job.
You know, I hate to keep leaning on it, but I think one pig-faced bartender might be able to tell us a little bit about the underworld movings and shakings.
Indeed.
Although I'm also very interested in like international goings on. Like, where is Nicopolis?
You know, that's not one that I think.
Because it was on the 14th. There's been so many international stories in the paper. I'm really
Yes.
curious if anything is going on.
Yes, that's true. Perhaps there's some.
I sort of agree. I sort of agree, but the reason I'm hesitant for two reasons. I remember before when they threw a lot of financial stuff at us all over the place for like a
That is very true.
and it ended up none of it had anything to do with anything directly. It was related, but you didn't need any of it.
Well, but if there is.
That's very fair.
If there is a story from the 13th that says mysterious gigantic diamond goes missing from
Yeah,
Nicopolis, Greece.
that would definitely be worth looking into. We have a newspaper from about that period. I think there was actually a theft in one of these papers.
Well, someone stole
Passing one of them
the
around.
heart of the Draculas.
1960.
This is the 13th.
Ah,
That's
perfect.
the thing.
Ah, on the other side.
Ah, body found in the Thames.
No, above that.
Oh, the Hermes flies off. Let's see. Oh, well, here we go. It does mention Greece. Last Sunday, a rich private collector from the Lucas Isles was the target of an unprecedented theft. A 5-foot-tall statue of, well,
Go on.
statue covered in plates of ivory and gold. The piece is of inestimable value, but more importantly, is part of the heritage that Greece is attempting to preserve. The efforts of the police forces are now focused in preventing its exit from the country. This affair has returned to the spotlight the uproar about the Parthenon's marble, acquired by Lord Elgin and exhibited at the British Museum, and the protection of the cultural artifacts set up by Greece. So if it was in the coffin, it had to have been removed, of course, before Customs looked at it, because Customs would have freaked out over a ridiculously valuable-looking statue
What did
in
they
the
say about,
coffin.
what did they say about the marble? Was it?
So there's a great deal of marble from the Acropolis that's in Britain at the British
Oh,
Museum.
I thought they were talking about in marble.
Oh no.
But that's,
Okay.
No, it's
that would be a real stretch to get. Well, yeah, get that in there.
Really?
Well, no. It would not be a stretch to get it. Well, keep going.
Well, I mean, it's a
Yeah.
5-foot-tall statue. That would fit.
That would fit.
That would fit in a
That would
coffin.
fit.
The
And if
date
it was-
matches
if it was-
Tuesday the 13th
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, this is it.
From
This
Greece.
is it.
Yeah.
from Greece.
That's too much of a coincidence.
So we
Yeah,
got-
They were in a really big panic to get the whole thing underway. After 50 years of waiting.
That sounds like our guy.
Yes.
Do we think the stone people had anything? You looked for stone though, right? There's no stone.
not in here. but
yeah,
They don't live here.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
they
sounds
were-
like an alias.
I could see them being worried about stones because if this thing had gone overboard with a giant statue in it, it would have sunk like a stone.
And this explains why they were keeping such close watch on the coffin.
Yeah, they
In
do.
the sealed off VIP room, no less.
Yeah, because it's a VIP coffin.
Wait, where were they looking? You mean when it was on the ship?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Music turned down. Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
So just to help, a timeline seems like it might be useful at this point.
Indeed.
Figuring out when the ship arrived, because it's a giant statue. They couldn't have done anything with it while it was on the ship.
All right. Well, it arrived on the 21st.
Yeah. And it,
So
well,
left.
let me see. What was the address of the place I just looked at?
The customs house was at 19 EC.
All right, 19 EC. Okay. So, it left. Of course, the ship was called Helen of Troy. It's all been pointing us to Greece. On September the 14th, and
Yep.
it arrived in London on the 21st, and the receiving party is Lord Peckham. You may want to go, or do we already go talk to him?
Yeah, we haven't
We
spoken
have
to him
not
yet.
spoken to Lord Peckham.
He was at
84
84
Southwest.
St. George Street. Oh, thank you. You have the real number.
That's right.
84 Southwest, we said?
Southwest, yeah.
Yeah.
I went with St. George.
Nice. Awesome.
Take it away.
Yeah.
Oh, me?
Would you like to go?
It's
to
you.
George Street? One. Oh,
Grandfather's coffin. We're awaiting its arrival in the next few days. Nothing bad has happened, I hope.
Lord Peckham, his nose pointed and his face narrow, looks at us attentively. I'm sorry for the bad news, says Wiggins, but the coffin is in police custody as a piece of evidence in a murder case.
A murder? Young man, explain yourself.
The Count Dracula was found murdered this morning in your grandfather's coffin. Murdered? Lord Peckham crosses himself quickly and sits down, stunned.
Peace to his soul.
So I thought you said stunt.
The what?
Oh, you said stunned?
Oh, stunned.
I thought you meant just like he sat down in a badass way.
Can you explain to us the steps you've taken to have your grandfather's remains brought back to England?
We had long abandoned the idea of finding grandfather.
He had been killed in Transylvania in 1848 during the Civil War, when we were contacted by a short, mustachioed man, Abdul Mahmud,
Hello.
a former officer from the Ottoman Empire, who told us that he had found documents which would allow us to locate Bowser's castle. After the usual,
Oh.
it's his tomb.
Bowser's tomb?
Yeah, Bowser's
Jesus
tomb.
Christ.
oh, it's Dry Bowser.
After the usual sympathies, that man let us know that for a modest sum, he could take care of getting his remains back into the country. A sum which turned out to be 800 pounds. Of course, it was originally grandfather's money, so it's only fair that it was used by him one last time.
Dear sir, I need your help. I am an Ottoman prince. My funds are not available to me, but I can send you your grandfather's bones.
So it's that Abdul Mahmud who took care to ship the coffin via the Helen of Troy?
Yes, I was given to understand that he had booked a luxury cabin.
A cabin? Oh, of course. I couldn't put my ancestor in the hold for his final crossing. Did you know the Count Dracula? Yes, he's a friend. I chose him for his familiarity with customs regulations, as they were a bit peculiar in this case. I was a bit anxious about not having had news, and I finally managed to reach him directly on the phone yesterday afternoon. He assured me that he was personally guaranteeing the proper delivery and that it would be made within 2 or 3 days' time in order to deal with customs regulations. Thank you, says Wiggins as he starts walking to the door. And for grandfather, when will I be able to see him? Ask Inspector Lestrade at Scotland Yard, Wiggins advises him.
I feel like I might have a picture of this. So, short mustachioed man. Wasn't Mishkov described that way? I feel like somebody else has been described as mustachioed.
Mishkov definitely had a mustache, although he wasn't. I don't remember him being short.
Let's see, 34 Southwest was where he was shown to us. Oh, he's a tall, slim man.
Yes.
With a mustache, okay.
Oh, I just heard the music.
So it definitely feels like they needed to get out of the country. They knew they were going to need to leave the country with the statue if they stole it. They figured out that this might be a way they could make that happen if they contact this guy and says, hey, we've got your grandfather's bones. Because it's just going to be bones. It's not going to be anything recognizable. Do you want them shipped back? He's like, sure, I shipped them, get them shipped back. It may even have been predictable if he was friends with the Count that he would use the Count's shipping company.
Yeah, that's a weird. They had to have had some knowledge of this guy to know that he would fall for this kind of a scam.
Yeah, that's the thing that's missing so far. I feel like there's got to be somebody close to Peckham who knew this would be a worthwhile thing.
Indeed.
Did he have any other family? No. We visited where he lives. Is there another Peckham in the directory?
There's not. But if that's the sort of thing we're after, then perhaps Mr. Pike would be worth a visit.
I thought you were going to say Porteous.
Although,
Porky doesn't know too much about nobility, I think.
although I don't know if it had to be the Count. I mean, the strategy of bribing off a key member of the staff and replacing him could have theoretically worked with anyone, right?
Sure, they just had to have been close enough to know that, like, how are we going to do this? Oh, this
Well-
guy would love to get his grandfather back. Let's approach him under this ruse, you know? Because that's a real shot in the dark to just pick a noble and say, hey, do you want your grandfather? No? Okay, bye.
I don't know. I feel like that actually probably would work with most noble families if they had a member who was unaccounted for.
Well, then they would have to at least know that he had a Transylvanian grandfather that had been killed in an uprising there.
Yeah, but I think I see where the rest of this may have happened. So 800 pounds, this guy talks about it like it's nothing, but the Count and Draga were arguing over money.
Sure.
He may have taken it very, very personally, seriously, because holy crap, I need 800 pounds, and then he stumbles onto it, freaks out, goes to find out where the warehouse is, and he gets himself killed by sticking his nose into it at the wrong time, and, well, we've got this coffin, let's just stick him in it and be done
Perhaps,
with it.
yeah.
But, we'll see. Where should we go next is the good question.
I tried to see if Mahmoud was in directory, but he's not.
I think he's in...
Did they say he was
I feel like he's the contact from wherever they were shipping this from, Greece.
Greece?
Indeed. Check today's paper again. It's just so weird that there's nothing in here so far. Let's see. Serbian. I'll scan this and make sure I don't see anything.
Did we end up trying to find the Dracula's house?
Yeah, that's where Draga was.
Oh, that's right.
Here, let's see what we're interested in. I am
Is that Kirby?
It was, yeah.
Oh man, is it a Kirby who ate a Dracula?
Yes.
See the paper after the 13th, whichever one that is.
Yeah, I've got 1916.
16.
And then 19.
Cool, thank you. New shipping office opens in Greece.
There we go.
This is on the 16th. Jardine Matheson & Co. has announced the opening of a new office in Nicopolis on the western coast of Greece.
Uh-huh.
This will reduce the travel time from Piraeus by a day, which was until now the only port served by the company. Even if most of the profits generated by the sign are expected to be from conveying goods, passage to and from Nicopolis will also be open to the public. The northwest territories of Greece are rich in raw materials, which had previously been difficult to transport via the roads crossing the Pindus Mountains. Yeah, that's everything.
Well, that's if we didn't use Google to find out where Nicopolis was.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it does actually have a convenient map of
That would tell us.
Nicopolis and Lucas being pretty close to each other.
Indeed.
It's basically just saying, yeah, it's probably something with this.
Oh yeah. Big statues, big bone. Yeah, and we basically have some information that the person who inspected it didn't inspect it very well, because it's like, yeah, that's dirt and somebody's grandpa. Okay.
Well, as soon as he was told it was like 50 years old, it's like, yeah, it's bones. Okay, big deal. Bones could be anything.
So wait a minute, how did it wind up on the shores of the Thames?
If what I was saying was correct, the Count interrupted the transfer of the statue out of it because he freaked out because he wanted its 800 pounds and kept a really close eye on it, even though this was usually beneath him.
Okay.
And they're like, well, we've got this body, we've got a coffin we can put it in, but what are we going to do with the coffin?
So his carriage arrives with the coffin. And then after that, the Count shows up on his own on foot and says, hey, where's that coffin that you just got? The guy, Tatum, says, oh, it's over in this warehouse. He goes there, bumps into whatever's going on, gets killed. They take the goods, put him in the box.
And just dump the box in the Thames, which has happened like once a newspaper almost in all of these cases.
Okay.
It's the popular dumping ground, and it's not like they...
It is. Usually it's not in a coffin.
But it's not like they cared about, giving the coffin or the remains to the actual destination.
That's what's so strange, though, is that if they hadn't put him in the coffin, and had just dumped him in the Thames, then we wouldn't even be on this trail, you know what I mean? That's kind of weird, right?
Unless they wanted us to think it was Dracula's.
Maybe.
It could have been that they were planning on getting rid of the coffin and whatnot anyway. Although, again, why get rid of them together? It isn't. I admit that is an odd
Or
choice.
even then, why not just leave it in the warehouse?
Got it.
Did they stake him in the chest just for reasons?
That's what I'm getting
Yeah,
at, is
I mean,
that
I can see him being killed.
this kind of behavior seems like they've got it on the outs for him for some reason, which points to it being his widow and her lover or something like that, I guess.
Well, it's possible that he stumbled across them, and then both things happened. Like he stumbled across them, and because he wasn't a random passerby, they got creative with the means of his
Sure,
death.
yeah. Maybe they were banging in the coffin.
But the thing we're missing is we need to kind of prove some of this idea.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Which so timeline.
I guess it's not 100% clear to me who the actual perpetrators are. Like, the new secretary seems suspicious.
Right.
Oh yeah, he's absolutely in on it. If we could find him, we'd be doing.
I think talking to Porky would be a good idea. If there's someone doing some moving and shaking in the underworld, he's going to be our man.
I could agree with that.
52 EC. I think it's you, Fair Dev.
Okay. 52 EC.
We did find Jennings, right? But just at work.
Yeah.
We still talked to him.
No, we didn't. We never talked to Jennings. We've heard about him many times. We went to his boarded up house, but
Oh yeah, we talked to
Yeah, we haven't
the
been able to
person that
find him.
told us about Jennings. Yeah.
52 EC. Oh boy. Heard you were hunting vampires, Wiggins. Come back at closing time. Right now, all I have is undead. Porky serves each of us a pint. Have you heard about the death of Count Albert? Yeah, but I didn't know the name. There aren't really a lot of nobles who set foot at the Raven and Rat. Where was he from again? From Transylvania. It's north of Greece. Yeah, I'm aware of that. As in fact, we regularly host the king of Transylvania, King Michael, the king of gypsies. Most of them are thieves, but all of them are at his service. Where could I find him? Not far from Liverpool Street Station in Worship Street. I don't know at what number. You think he'll know something about the Count's murder? I don't know. But if it has anything to do with gypsies, he'll know about it.
I
In
think
White Street?
gypsies are a very red herring right now.
Yeah,
It sounds super cool, though.
I'm,
I definitely want to meet the Gypsy King.
They say worship.
Worship Street. He doesn't know what number.
82.
Maybe directly between the two of them. So 7. I'm doing it.
Alright.
Follow me. I'm just gonna knock on. No, I don't know. I'm just gonna knock on doors and see if there's a Gypsy King.
Oh boy.
It's not 7.
Okay.
It's 81. Hello, yes. I am called the King of the Gypsies. I was a voivode?
What number was this?
81s.
81 EC.
Okay, the Gypsy King.
I feel like these almost need to go under a separate side story. Oh.
Voivode? It's a real word. It's Slavic. It means warlord. It was literally a lieutenant of Transylvania. Voivode. I was a voivode before. But no matter my title, I still have the honor of leading my people. While Michael Zobar's title is royal, his attitude is closer to that of the people. He lives in a warehouse in which most of his decorations seem to have been stolen from London palaces. He's a muscled man, tanned and wearing a mustache, and rather good looking, in his 40s.
Mustachio man.
He doesn't really have an accent, but seems to stretch out his words and speak in almost sing-song. What can I do for you? We're investigating the death of Count Dalbert, who was murdered earlier this morning. What can you tell us about him or his murder? Count was oppressing my people, but when he lost his power, he lost any influence over us. His life and his death are of no interest to me. Zobar makes a hand gesture, which adds a certain emphasis to what he's saying. Dalbert is nothing anymore. Do you know who could have killed him? Who knows? Maybe a personal vendetta. He was responsible for the death of many men. A name, maybe. I could give you one, but I will not. Whoever killed Dalbert is not one of my enemies. Now join me in a drink, so we may speak of more interesting things. He grabs a flask and pours us each a glass of wine. We spend the next 20 minutes talking about polo, a sport that the exiled king has adopted with a passion.
Polo, huh?
Oh, it's the exact entry right after Porky. That's funny.
Well, that's the king of the gypsies.
That was worth our time.
Nice. Learned about polo.
Polo, I love him.
He's a good dog. Well, so the thing arrived on the 21st.
Yes.
Nothing here about statue or...
Polo. Hello. Yeah, maybe we should try and figure out a way to track down Jennings if we can. So he's a secretary there. They said
Or
he
figure
wasn't
out where
there
the
today.
warehouse was. We could figure that out.
Oh, we didn't know.
I see that. I was trying to figure out if any of the contacts would be of relevance.
I didn't realize we hadn't been to the actual warehouse.
We never figured out exactly where it was.
Well, shouldn't Tatum have been able to tell us? Because
Yeah, let's double check that entry.
He said he was the only one who talked about it, but I don't think he actually told us exactly where. I'll see what he said though, when I find it.
Yeah.
59 southeast. Southeast. Where are you, southeast? Southeast. Ah, yeah. Yes, it was me who approved the release of that coffin from the Guardian warehouse. It happened early this morning, the sun wasn't even out yet, and it was cold enough to freeze the whiskers off a brass monkey. Blah, 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 blah. When someone knocked at the window, I turned. It was a driver. I checked to make sure that the paperwork handed to me was in order, then got up to open the gate. It was Count Albert's Broham. He even actually greeted me with a hand gesture from his door. But frankly, I'd rather have the look of the lady who was with him to pay her respects, if you know what I mean. Let's see, let's see.
Well, lady and man matches up with Stone, Mr. and Mrs. Stone. We haven't looked
This could also be
that minor.
Draga and
It could be, yes.
And also Draga and the other person could be Mr. and Mrs. Stone.
Yeah, exactly.
No, nothing, but there was that trouble about the warehouse number.
Oh, right, there's
although-
some missing information on the document we got at the very beginning.
I know, I just saw the Broham leave in the fog towards London Bridge. I suppose the coffin was inside.
London
So
Bridge.
from 59 SE, which was relatively close by, if I recall.
I see.
Yeah. Where's 59 SE? Thought it was nearby.
Wait, what is 59 SE?
Frank Tatum.
No, that's his house then, isn't it? That's not where the warehouse is going to be.
Oh, true. That's right. It would be from wherever. It would be from.
Jardines, which is
Yeah.
at 15,
Okay. Yeah.
towards London Bridge.
Yes.
Okay, so Jardines, is where the warehouse is.
I would assume so. I don't know that for a fact, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, they maybe stopped somewhere here. Look at the very beginning and see if there's any hint as to where we found the body
Okay.
in the coffin to begin with.
Sure. The shore of the Thames near Tower Bridge.
Tower Bridge. Tower Bridge is... Huh. Okay. Huh.
Oh, yeah. It's the actual Tower of London.
Yeah.
And they said they went towards London Bridge, right?
Yeah.
So they went this way, then it was found over here. So they went around?
But if it was dumped in the river, Well, who knows where it would have.
Do we have arrows?
Yeah, I was gonna say which way the river flows.
What's that say? Bridge Street.
Bridge House Hotel.
Yeah.
And this is the station for the bridge.
Yeah, it's not likely.
Could we just poke our nose in at 20 EC and see if there's something of relevance there? I mean, it's the only
Sure, 20
spot between there and here.
20 EC, I guess. Whose turn is it?
Just take a quick look.
20 EC. Okay.
Just a quick look. Just a little quick look.
Nope.
All right.
20 EC.
Okay. How about 21?
Nothing.
How about 22?
Nope.
Okay. Well, good game.
You know, in all of this excitement,
Uh-huh.
maybe we should go to the usual steps of the criminology lab and the autopsy folks.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense to do it.
It might teach us.
Yes.
It might tell us something about how he was killed. Because one thing that also I remembered is that the thing he was impaled with was a sailor thing,
Yeah.
Oh,
which
yeah.
kind of to
Right.
me lends credence to the idea this was maybe done hastily and it was what they had at hand. Because they had just they just done.
Still, though, that's...
Marvin Spike.
You know, there's also the other fellow that was knocked unconscious in the back of the head.
Right.
We haven't investigated him at all.
I want something to tie him to this before I get. Too
But he
excited.
might be a secondary mystery.
No, he's almost.
We're
certainly
so far ahead of the curve.
He's so far. He's definitely a secondary mystery, but I'm gonna stay on this one. Unless we completely dead end it, and until we've talked to our criminology friend and our autopsy friend.
Are you checking that slip?
Some books
I
for
was trying to
Lomax.
find out about it, yeah.
What is Lomax's?
Lomax is the librarian.
Oh, okay.
Boring.
Get some more water real quick.
Very well. When you're done, I would like to talk to someone. Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
I'm doing well.
That's good.
How are you doing?
It's good to see you.
You too.
Yeah.
What do you know?
Most of what we found out is just the TF, which is, I assume, what is it, Frank?
Tatum.
Tatum Frank.
Yeah, he signed for it, so.
Let's speak to Murray.
Where's he at?
22 Southwest.
22 Southwest.
Murray is busy around a long table. On a black tablecloth, bones are spread out, starting to form a human skeleton. I'm going to be a boss, he says, the skeleton. He pulls out a skull from a box placed on a counter and removes dust from it using a small brush. He then examines the skull with the help of a magnifying glass. After a few moments, he places it on the table at the top of the skeleton. He takes a step back to better appreciate his work. What is it? Rather, who is it, I should say?
Don't give up, skeleton.
Stay determined. These are the remains found in the earth of the coffin containing the body of the Count d'Albert. What can you tell us about these bones, Doctor? Not much. These are the bones of a woman of 30 years of age. She had at least one child. I'd say that she was weaving baskets and that she died from a fall or a head trauma. She died over 200 years ago. What else? Nothing special. The coffin was new. I have nothing to add to Meeks' autopsy. Wiggins goes around the table, his gaze fixed on the bones. He stops near the box and pulls a handful of earth from it. And what about all this earth, he asks. I was wondering the same thing. It would have been more logical to remove the bones before putting them in a coffin. It's as though someone dug up a grave and just piled all of it, bones and earth, into the coffin, which is not a Christian thing to do.
Well, it's definitely not that guy's grandfather.
Yeah. Meeks definitely seems like a happy stop. Might find out about that injury in the back,
Yes.
which is probably the more important injury of the two. Anyway.
Yes, absolutely.
Indeed.
Brandon, 38 EC.
38. A lot of EC. 38. Huh, this one seems very small. The lifeless body of
Your
Count-
dad seems very small.
Destroyed. The lifeless body. lies on one of the marble tables of the morgue in St. Bart's basement. Meeks is washing his hands in one of the large sinks attached to the wall. Nothing surprising in this case, Wiggins. Death was caused by a violent trauma to the heart, as we would expect with a state so is deeply embedded in it. He was knocked out before being killed. There's a wound at the back of his head. Moreover, the victim shows no signs of struggle. Horrible death. Well,
Alright.
that's...
That was a waste.
Yeah, I'm almost going to say don't count that because
Yeah.
we literally already knew all of that information.
We beat his ass.
A horrible death!
Did we have any background on Mishkov?
Could try the Russian embassy.
Yeah, we could. Do it. Do it. Do it. You bring the Zan, I'll bring the Geef.
We must protect Russian skies.
The Russian embassy can be found at 54 Southwest.
54 Southwest. This looks small. I'll tell you openly. We would have preferred to have had Count Dalbert be in power rather than General Silzlanki. But things happen differently. Count Dalbert belongs to the past, and we must now learn to deal with the power in place. The General is at this very moment in London at the Cosmopolitan for negotiations.
Okay. Alright.
Muscle power for you!
Okay.
I'm not buying it.
No, it's related.
No.
No. I'm saying no. Also, although it's your pick.
But listen to that voice. It sounds
I'm not even writing down what we are.
fine.
But that wasn't even about the guy we went there to ask about.
Yeah, that was just.
Yeah, that was strange.
That's just like, well, Eastern Europe is gonna be Eastern Europe.
Duh.
Well,
From Russia with mixed emotions.
let's see.
Would you have had his own driver, or we know that there was a carriage involved. Is it worth talking to the carriage depot? I don't know.
Well,
They
it was a
said
private
it's
carriage.
his.
It was.
Yeah, they said it was his.
I don't know how to get information about that.
Yeah.
Also, we have a lot of timeline information. Have we charted his time of death relative to the other events?
Not yet.
7:30 a.m. was the call about the coffin.
He'd been dead for a couple of hours, 2 to 3 hours by then, so he died just before sunrise.
Duh.
And we found the body at what time?
I thought you said 7:30.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was when they got a call about it. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. We probably arrived not too long after that, I would imagine.
Yeah. Interesting.
Can I see the book when you're got a second, Lois?
Yes, I just want to confirm that.
Absolutely.
It says the day is quite advanced, right?
Yeah, it's evening right now.
Yeah.
So
that
how
was
did we
part
get
that
there so
confused
late?
me. Because we got there at evening, and yet when was he actually killed? It was only a few hours beforehand, wasn't it?
Wait,
Where
really?
does it say?
Yeah.
That's true. Wiggins said he'd only been dead for a couple of
2
hours.
to 3 hours. Where's that coffin info?
And apparently Meeks doesn't have any more information on time of death, unfortunately. So.
Okay, Constable Willis answered the call from one of the residents around 7:30 this morning and found the coffin in this state beached on the shore. No one else noticed anything unusual.
Okay.
So he had to have been dead a couple of hours since 7:30, not since
Yeah,
we were
yeah.
there.
So
Okay.
we showed up much later after.
Yeah, we
this.
showed up like
and then they were
almost a
like,
day
"Well, this
later."
is weird." So Colin Holmes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
And the coffin arriving was at 6 something? What was the time that things were going on over there?
It was not that specific. I think it was like before the sun was up.
Alright. I feel like we have a lot of pieces. I'm just, like, a lot of them are kind of loose.
The main thing I think we're missing is who were actually the participants in the main crime.
Right.
We have theories about what that crime was, but we can't actually
Is-
prove who did it yet.
Is there any way we can try and track down Mr. and Mrs. Stone? Do we know anything about Mishkov or Draga being gone recently? Because they would have had to have arrived, right?
I was just wondering about trying to find more information about them. I'm looking at her entry now.
Draga?
Yeah. Since our arrival in London, he made his income through friends and political allies. He left before dawn, which is not his habit to do with that timeline. And then what was the address of Lady Fitch?
Fitch was
39 Southwest.
Yeah. And notably, Countess D'Albert must have been in town on the 19th before the ship arrived because she was doing the charity thing.
Right.
So she was not on the boat.
Drago Meshkov claims to be a son of a count, which I doubt. Draga has no money. Count might be a wily politician, but he's a terrible spendthrift, living in debt. Meshkov has stuff on credit. His apartment is empty. Doesn't have too many activities. Yeah, that's it. We might be able to learn something about her by following up with the Count's political connections, simply because I can't think of it however else to ask about their family. But we do know that he was a hobnobber where politics is concerned.
Yeah, I'm not feeling the political connection.
Oh, what are we talking about? Langdale Pike.
Yeah. I like him because
Absolutely.
he might tell us something about Mishkov, too.
Yeah, if we're talking about scandal, he's absolutely the person to talk to.
Indeed.
Whose turn is it?
I think that would be your turn. Is it? Or did you?
Did you just talk?
Or did
What was the last one?
Meeks.
I didn't read that.
That was you.
I read that?
Yeah.
Your
It's a
turn.
Lobos.
Awesome.
Pike is
Four.
at 2 Southwest.
I remember it.
I know the song. Never mind.
Dracula, what a bore! It's only justice, my boy, that he's been assassinated after having himself killed the mood of so many parties.
Oh my god.
After having Comet himself killed the mood of so many parties. Do you have any idea who would want him dead? Anyone who would have heard him go on about his views on politics in the Balkans. Langdale fakes a shiver of horror. Nothing like a fanatic to ruin the mood, and Dracula was a zealous fanatic.
I've never thought of a boring Dracula before. That's pretty good.
Langdale lights an
A
opiated...
fanatically boring Dracula.
Exactly. Langdale lights an opiated cigarette and takes a deep puff before continuing.
Smoke.
Shut up, Dad.
The Countess, his wife, is more interested in high-class lifestyle than in the political scene, but her invitations have become rarer as her husband's activities became more intense. So no rumors about the Draculas, says Wiggins as he gets up. Come now, I didn't know you were interested in rumors, my dear. Thought you wanted nothing but facts. Like an accountant, facts and numbers, unlike me, an artist versed in the delicate art of rumors. Langdale exhales a long column of smoke and waits for Wiggins to sit back down.
Big Nation.
The Countess Dracula is a very attractive woman with a taste for luxury, which she's been lacking since her exile to London due to the political failures of her husband. It might shock you, dear friend, but under these circumstances, the Countess has found comfort and peace in the arms of another. Langdale's head rests in the back of his chaise lounge as he inhales the last draw of his cigarette. Well, Langdale, roars Wiggins. Continue! But these are nothing but rumors, my friend. Only rumors. It might not be true, but it's a good story. I'll keep that in mind. Alexei Meshkov. He claims to be the Tsar's cousin. Tsar's cousin, but also, well,
Son of a count.
I think that his past is less glorious, but that he's looking for important responsibilities. That, my dear, is a fact. That's it.
God damn it, Langdale. We beat his ass.
Well, he actually did give us a couple of new things. I mean, apparently it wasn't just an issue of money trouble. She actually wanted to be part of higher society and was starting to get cut off from that, not even just on the money angle, but people were not inviting them as much because he was kind of a downer.
Okay.
It starts to make it more likely she would be involved.
Let me tell you about the Balkans.
But the whole reason we think they were murdered was that they got caught unloading this armored thing, right?
This contraband.
Well, I think she was involved with the statue thing because she wanted the statue thing. But then he showed up, and it was a choice between either doing away with him or giving up the money. And that may have been an easy choice in the end, even if it wasn't the original plan.
Who do we think is like how did she know about it? Like, because this was a thing over in Greece. Somebody's over there, like, somehow involved, right?
Well, I'm remembering that Fitch said that Draga didn't seem like his usual type because she was broke.
Ah, yes. That he's usually after ladies with money.
Yeah. Well, she didn't have money, but she was about to potentially come into it. I mean,
You mean Meshkov?
Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe Meshkov knew about the scheme and approached her specifically with the intention of leveraging her husband's connections to get this thing into the country.
Okay.
Indeed. And she would have known about Peckham, potentially, and the whole thing with his family and the fact that, yeah, they're friends. It's almost certain he'll call my husband if something comes up that needs shipping, because that's his business.
Yep.
Okay.
The 800 pounds inadvertently, perhaps, gets him overly interested in the matter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how he gets, busybody enough to actually do the dirty work of his own company for a change, because we know from his secretary that he usually didn't do anything, so it seemed perfect, right? If we replace the secretary, he's not going to care because he never cares.
Right.
And him showing up was a surprise.
It would make sense that she would have access, I guess, to his carriage of all
Yeah,
people.
absolutely.
Yeah. Only thing missing is the short mustachioed man. We haven't identified who that was.
Probably Jennings, right?
Probably.
I guess.
What was the involvement of Mustachio Man?
I think that was from Frank Tatum's entry.
No, I think that was the guy that approached Peckham.
Oh, the guy that approached Peckham, yes. That's right, yeah, it was the guy who approached
Masquerading
Peckham.
as Abdul Mahmoud.
Oh.
Yeah, which...
Okay.
Master of disguise.
Was he, or I thought we were saying that Abdul was in Greece making the connection over there?
I think maybe he had been, but
Okay.
I think that whoever spoke to him was probably this mystery man Jennings, who is now split town with the contraband.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which, interestingly, Brian Jennings did have a residence. There might be records about him.
That's true.
We could check with O'Brien.
Good. I think it's my turn, actually.
You just read?
Yeah, so I think it's your turn.
Yeah. Okay. 15. O'Brien is at 14 WC.
His radio.
Wait, that's the rule book.
It is the rule
I'm
book.
not going to find anybody at home there.
No,
14
it's
West.
the rules.
West Central. That's not
Tunnel snakes rules. Here's how to tunnel snakes. That's us.
West.
We're the rules.
I'm not counting this one, and I'll read it to illustrate why. We don't have a criminal file under the name of Jennings. And what about Count Daubert? You're joking, right? But he has a house. There should be some file on him.
Yeah, anyone that's got a house has done a crime.
Well, not a crime, but I mean legal documents if nothing else. The sale of the house, who actually owns it.
But what if it's a crime house? A crime house?
Honestly, though, I feel like we kind of know everyone who was involved in this.
I think so too.
Do we want to just try solving it?
Wow.
I'm willing to give it a shot.
Alright.
So nothing. Stones aren't anything.
Well, nothing.
Thing
There's
arrives.
Still, yeah, there's still a part of me that's like,
So before everything,
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely afford to.
discuss it.
Peace.
Or
Yeah.
I think if we could figure out like one or two more good leads, that would clinch it.
So
We
I
just need to
think-
figure out what those
I
are.
think Meshkov knows about the thing, and then he and Drago were to replace the secretary.
Yep.
Okay. Then they talk to what's his name, Peckham, and then get that going. Ship's over. Then they show up at the warehouse to get it, and then
The thing I wish we knew more about is the actual circumstances of the Count showing up and getting murdered.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
yeah,
That's the
just
part that's
assuming-
most
Like,
heavily
that-
implied at the
yeah, I
moment.
think that's
Maybe-
there's this black box where it's like, you know, the statue and the coffin go in, and
The coffin with a dead body in it goes out.
oh
Yeah.
right, yeah.
and where, like, you know, how did this all go out? What was actually like in the because when they see the guy wave to them to like take the carriage or whatever, like, is that them? Was that when they left with the coffin, or you know,
Yeah, they had the coffin. I think they had
or
the
at least
coffin
they
with them.
Thought they had the coffin with them.
Well, I'm pretty sure they had the coffin with them on that one. It's the
Do you
Count
think-
coming afterwards who's like, oh crap, where's this damn coffin gone?
Do you think Count? Because if she was gone, like maybe Count would have noticed if she was like not in bed or something. Like
Actually, yeah, they may have had to kill him regardless if he came looking, you know,
For her.
and his car, or his
Yeah.
you know,
yeah.
car is like, where the hell is my wife and my carriage at 3
Wait,
in the
did
morning?
we go visit the carriage depot?
We never did because we thought it
Well,
was
then
his. Yeah.
how would he have gotten there if his car was gone?
Dun
True.
dun dun.
Let's check 'em.
Let's go.
Where are they at? Just to remind me.
5WC.
Sounds good.
Maybe that's why it took so long for him to
Maybe
get
he
there.
turned into a swarm of bats and decided upon the.
Did you ever play the Vampire Infamous DLC?
Oh no, I didn't.
It is the to date, in my opinion, the absolute best play as a vampire video game. It's so good. What did I just say?
5WC.
Yes, we did carry the Count Dilbert between his residence in Park Lane to Lower Thames Street earlier this morning, the registry manager says.
Lower Ware Street?
Lower Thames. That's here,
Okay.
where the warehouse was.
Okay.
So he must have just gone to the warehouse.
Which, yeah.
Did it say how he left?
No.
Whenever, not in there, but whenever the story from Tatum, because the carriage left.
Just that there was a knock on the door and he himself was there.
And it sounded like he left in a hurry, but it didn't mention where he went. Although,
But that
presumably, if he was given the same address.
But that confirms that he didn't use his own carriage.
Oh yeah, he definitely did not use his own carriage. So we're definitely certain about that now.
Okay.
So I feel like Jennings is definitely involved. That's easy.
Oh, without a doubt.
It's still a little more questionable whether Mishkov is or not. Because theoretically, this doesn't have to involve him. Jennings could have done all of the things that.
Unless Jennings is Mishkov.
I feel like he couldn't have gotten hired.
No, you're right.
But the
Well, he could have arranged the telegram because that's all that got the other guy fired. He could have arranged the telegram.
He could have been in on it, yes, but I don't think he could have been Jennings. I don't think
No.
for whatever else was going on that Dalbera would have hired his wife's lover as his secretary.
That is
True.
True.
Especially
That's
not
true.
calling him
Okay.
deliberately by a pseudonym.
Yeah. Okay.
and the idea that she was into people with money, right? And Meshkov.
Yeah.
Didn't have money.
Oh wait.
He would no. He is the one
No.
who's usually into women with money.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The only thing we really don't know is who struck the killing blows and exactly where that happened.
Yeah, there's, as of right now, no way of knowing their whereabouts.
Security cameras.
Yes, exactly. Whose footprints are
Hopefully
these?
We could actually, inspect the warehouse.
It'd be really nice.
Yeah.
But I guess, but he wouldn't have been knocked out by then, right? Like that, the confrontation would have been more over here,
Yeah,
right?
over here.
Because they showed up first and then went towards London Bridge.
We looked at 88. Is that where?
But there's not one in there, unfortunately.
There's no 88.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure that was one of the ones we checked.
Where's Tatum again? I just want to review that entry. 59 at southeast.
Yep.
Diddly dum die.
Guess we could check docs too if we knew which one it came
The
from.
docks!
Oh, I thought this was docs.
It might
Or
be
is it already
docs.
in something else?
Jardines is a...
Company.
Yardine's is the office.
Office.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so that's not where the warehouse is then.
What?
I think that's where the warehouse is, but that's not necessarily
Oh,
where
where
the
the
docks
dock
are.
is.
If we could figure out where it docked, I'd love to visit that because we could actually maybe learn something from.
Well, talk to the captain of the ship, but yeah.
Well, check the back and figure out what docks we have available.
Most of them are 90 something E. There's a commercial docks at 66 South, which actually,
We
well,
don't
no,
have a
they,
south,
no, it traveled as a
unfortunately.
it traveled as a passenger. So anything between 93 and 99 E would be a dock.
Well, we don't have
We don't
any
have
E's
E.
either.
Oh well, then none of the docks are.
Yeah,
in
it makes
play.
sense. They're not gonna dock on the Thames. Right?
So close.
Yeah, we're just missing one.
And yet so Dracula.
Just missing one piece.
Yes, it was me who approved the release of that coffin from the Jardine warehouse. It happened early this morning, sun it wasn't even out yet. Cold enough to freeze the whiskers off a brass monkey. It was a driver. Checked to make sure the paperwork was handed in order. Got up to open the gate. It was the Bruin, who waved at me. Beautiful woman.
Drago.
Trouble with the warehouse number. Count himself ends up at my doorstep, asking me precisely where the coffin was. Took off very quickly.
Okay. So
Left.
that's the real count then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
He's on their trail.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, trouble with the warehouse number.
And they
just
wouldn't-
figure it out.
And based on his previous behavior, they would have never expected him to care about it because he never cared about his business before.
So do we think that what happened is they don't have the coffin yet? And they're going to the warehouse to get the coffin? Because we don't know the number. They didn't know the number.
Well,
And then when they meet theirs, when they...
I think that we have to conclude that the warehouse is on the premises here at 15.
Yes.
They arrive at the gate. He's there keeping the gate.
Right.
Checks their slip, allows them into the
Okay.
compound.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So this all happens here.
Yep.
And then they leave heading that way.
Right, that's why I said there was confusion about the warehouse number. There wasn't. It's just, why did the count suddenly...
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, there was no confusion. You got it right both times.
Well, there is confusion. The confusion
Yeah.
is, where's my wife?
Yeah.
Still, though, we can we establish an alibi for someone that night? If we had some idea of like where Mishkov hangs out or something like that.
It doesn't sound like he hangs out anywhere.
So he has a rendezvous. He must hang out somewhere.
Yeah, must. And yet,
Yeah, we know very little about him. The embassy and Porky had nothing.
What about Quentin Hogg?
For international affairs?
No, he's the journalist on criminal cases.
Oh, journal. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's possible.
maybe.
Although I feel like he might just point us in the... Well,
Yeah.
Yeah,
he might
there's-
just be like, hey, did you hear about
We're-
this thing in Greece?
We're pretty deep into get anything new.
Well, actually, if there was going to be any like criminal history on him, Disraeli would have given it to
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nuts.
indeed. So left one.
So yeah, I'm gonna guess that the driver may have been Jennings.
No, because he saw a man's. Well, maybe. Yeah, that's true.
The driver could have been either of the men involved.
But then
Yeah.
there was some other man inside because a
That's
man
probably-
waved from
that's
inside.
probably Mishkov.
yeah.
So there's.
Because that's the one who's with the lady.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so maybe
both of them were there.
Both men and the lady were there.
Yeah.
Yes.
It said there was 3 people?
He said there was a driver, and the count waved from inside,
Yeah.
and there was a
Three
beautiful
people,
woman.
definitely. So all three
actually
of them were there.
Okay.
Oh.
So the one who's gonna, yeah, I think the man posing as the count is most likely our Russian man.
It's
Well-
possible that there just isn't more to learn about this, unfortunately. I mean, it seems weird that we wouldn't learn anymore, but that's happened before, too. Is that, well...
Is there anything strange about the state of the coffin that besides
What was?
Where was
we
it?
look back at what all was found in it. There's this slip.
There was the half a
a
slip,
slip.
Yep.
the business cards that he had, the pile of bones and dirt. That was it.
And the fact that he didn't struggle.
Oh wait, who was the T? Oh no, we found that out.
Yeah.
Found that out.
yeah, they could have just known he was chasing him and then
So they knocked him out,
yeah.
and then they impaled him.
You know, as much as I hate to admit it, maybe they were like, oh my god, what are we going to do? And his wife was finally like, you know what? I've been laughing about how he's like a vampire for the longest time. Let's pretend he's a vampire. everyone will be scared.
Well, it would be
They'll
a
be
way
too
to
spooked.
It would be a way to throw people off the case potentially. I mean, a vampire has nothing to do with anything.
It's
that
thrown
happened
me
here.
completely off. I think that he's a vampire.
Well, it may not be our most.
It does feel weird that, well, they needed to get rid of the coffin, too. Well, no, because...
No, they didn't.
Everybody's gonna know... It is weird that, like... That is the one confusing thing, is the how did they ever expect to get away with it, the angle. Because who's not going to... Well, is going to...
Well, the thing is that the body, there is definitely a body in there. And so they could have just
Given it to
taken
him.
the coffin, unloaded the
statue.
somewhere. I wonder if the statue is somewhere waiting for us to find it.
Maybe, but
I can't think of where, though.
Yeah, where? Yeah, the question of where's the statue now is a total mystery.
I mean, I feel like
Other than-
we definitely have questions. I just don't know if they're questions we are actually going to be able to find answers to.
Yeah, I mean,
So we
for
don't
that,
have
yeah,
anything.
no,
They could just have it
Yeah,
hidden in
you're
their
right,
house or
you're
something.
right. I mean, I guess Jennings,
Yeah, that's true.
Jennings cabin is barred up that apartment.
Yeah.
Or maybe the bats carried it away. Shall we give it a shot then?
I think so. I mean, it might not be our most glorious attempt ever, but I feel pretty good.
We arrived to find Holmes struggling with a vampire. We realized shortly afterwards that it's actually just Kirby having inherited the powers of a vampire by eating the vampire. The first series of questions has 3 questions in it. The first question is, who killed the Count d'Albert? The unholy trinity of Draga, Mishkin, and Jennings.
Braga, Jennings, and
Meshkov.
Mishkov.
Number 2. How was that murder planned?
Oh.
The murder was not actually planned so much as it was that he stumbled upon their
Yes,
scheme.
I think it was a crime of necessity.
Okay, it wasn't.
However, if they were to plan it and there was seemingly no struggle, I was thinking that there might have been some sort of, they could have had an argument and then she left and he like went to go chase her. That way that they would meet at some point and then be talking and then from behind somebody would just, but I don't know.
I don't know either.
3.
3. What did the coffin contain?
That's darn Hermes statue.
Yep.
And bones.
And some bones.
And the bones of a random lady whose grave was dug up and poured out over top of the statue.
And grave dirt from her grave. And
grave
another
dirt.
lady and her grave dirt.
Second series of questions has 4 questions. What is the Countess's secret?
Meshkov.
I guess?
Yeah.
Sure.
Her secret love.
Maybe she's secretly fat.
Well, Fitch did try to swear us to secrecy on it.
Yeah.
so
That
I'm
wasn't
pretty-
terribly difficult for us to find out, though.
Well,
we newspapered that one. Newspaper stuff usually
That's
is
true,
pretty
that's
valuable.
true, that's true.
Yeah, it's either newspaper or Langdon.
And Langdale was going out of his way to make it seem like it wasn't that sure of a thing.
Number 5. Where's General Slizlagi?
Oh, he's at
He's at the Cosmopolitan Hotel.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yep.
We went just far enough.
Number 6. Who shot at the General?
Okay, maybe we didn't follow that thread.
Oh, no. I've got a pretty good idea who did it. And it was the King of Gypsies.
I actually like that a lot. 'Cause
Yeah.
He specifically was like, yeah, who gives a crap about
Yeah.
Gilbert anymore?
I shoot at anyone I care to.
And the last
Oh,
one,
hi, Mark.
number 4.
Number 7. Where are the remains of Lord Peckham's grandfather?
Who the hell knows?
Greece.
Oh, Greece.
They're still in Greece.
Greece. Alright. Even if we missed 2 of the other ones by going in relatively low on lead count and getting the bonus questions for sure.
We find Holmes sitting in the middle of his living room at 221B Baker Street. His legs are crossed and he's surrounded by newspaper clippings.
And Polo.
He holds in his hand a map of Europe. A thick cloud of vape smoke stagnates over his head, and a half bottle of vape whiskey is slowly finishing decanting close at hand. Come in, Wiggins, and sit down. Let's see if you've solved this little enigma. We settle in our chairs as Holmes is looking through a pile of papers and pulls a whiskey glass from it. He pours himself a glass, takes a sip, and talks to us. I hope you're not too disappointed in not having found a vampire, Wiggins. I'm still not sure if I've found the Count's murderer, Mr. Holmes. He has so many enemies. Holmes cuts him off. Wiggins, how many times must I repeat to you not to start an investigation by looking for a motive? Just like a bloodhound can be confused by a multitude of scents, a detective can find himself enmeshed in an imbroglio of motives. Look at the clues. They will lead you down the right path. The path will then lead you to the motive. Do you understand? Yes, sir. What does the murder weapon tell us? The marlin spike? Well, it could have been used so that we wouldn't be able to work back to the murderer. Holmes seems little impressed by the answer of his favorite student. He gets up, lights a cigarette, and begins his class. No, Wiggins, it was a weapon of opportunity. It tells us that the crime probably took place in the shipping warehouse where the coffin was stored, and the murderer worked with whatever they had at hand. No assassin would use a marlin spike as a weapon, not even a sailor. The other clue is the probable area of the crime, the warehouse, as well as its contents, the coffin. The customs office told us that the coffin was the only cargo belonging to the Count in the warehouse. It's at this point, Wiggins, that we can start establishing a motive. Was there anything in the coffin? Something fragile, something that Carey used to have it placed in a cabin and not in the hold. Someone worked hard to set up that stratagem, exhuming bones, getting them shipped. There must be a valid reason. Quick examination of the papers gives us a possible motive. The statue of Hermes, stolen in Greece. They had to find a way to get it out of the country. I've told you numerous times that the press is a valuable tool if you know how to use it. If the power of the police is restricted to the borders of a country, criminals, for one, don't hesitate to work internationally. The contraband angle should have leapt to your eyes from the start, Wiggins. Maritime agent found dead not far from the warehouse, a shipping slip in hand. These are enough clues to stop even Lestrade from going down the wrong path. But Holmes, what about the anarchists? D'Albert's political enemies. Anarchists kill for political reasons. They have no interest in killing someone without laying claim to it. And what about the clues regarding Countess D'Albert and her lover, Alexei Meshkov? The weapon, Wiggins. It makes no sense to kill one's rival with such a weapon. Why turn their death into such a spectacle? No, Wiggins, even if the Countess and Meshkov were planning a misdeed, someone caught them up short. The case is actually quite simple. The statue stolen in Greece is placed in the coffin and shipped in the first class going to London, discreetly watched over during the travel by the Stone couple. On his arrival, Jennings, quite providentially hired by the Count d'Albert in the weeks following the theft, makes sure that the coffin goes through customs with no issues. The morning of the crime, Jennings and the Stones take the company's brougham and go to recover the loot from the Jardine warehouse. What they don't know, however, is that the Count d'Albert, surprised by his secretary's zeal, suspects that something's off and decides to go and look around the warehouse as soon as possible in order to check, which is why Frank Tatum, the employee on guard, sees Count d'Albert's brougham go by. Then a few minutes later, the Count himself. He didn't know, however, that the Count wasn't on board the brougham as he believed. The Count rushes to the warehouse and discovers the secretary and his two accomplices in the middle of opening the coffin to remove the statue. At this point, Jennings and his accomplices have no options left. They kill the Count, throw the body in the coffin, and toss it into the Thames, hoping to gain more time. Then they load the statue into the brougham and flee. Thankfully for us, the coffin didn't go very far. All that's left now is finding Jennings and his accomplices. That could be harder than you think, my dear Wiggins. By this time, I imagine that Jennings and the Stones, who probably used false identities, must be far, far away. We should ask Lestrade to have train stations and ports watched. After all, it's not like they can just fly away.
So Stones were real people.
I think we will.
Well, we could have figured out. Go
I
ahead.
think we'll still actually come out of this okay. So how many leads did Holmes?
Holmes solved this with 4 leads.
Alright, we used 13, so we're in the whole...
That's still pretty good for us.
We're in the whole negative 45 only. This is actually going to be our highest score in this set.
Okay. Who killed Count d'Albert?
We said Draga, Jennings, and Meshkov.
Well, we get 20 points for naming Brian Jennings as one of the culprits. Because Mr. and Mrs. Stone are worth a separate 20 points.
Okay. Excellent.
How was the murder planned?
It wasn't planned.
30 points.
Nice.
What was in the coffin?
The Hermes statue.
30 points.
And a random lady in her graveyard, if anyone cares.
What is the Countess's secret?
The affair with...
10 points.
Yes.
Where's the general?
Cosmopolitan.
10 points. Who shot at the general?
The Gypsy King.
No, it was a man named Peter Popkin.
Oh.
10 points.
Oh well.
Where are the bones of Peckham's grandfather?
Squeeze.
You know, they're still in Transylvania, which would have been the correct answer
Rad.
if I had been thinking clearly.
Oh well.
Oh well.
Our total is plus 55.
Well done.
Yes.
Good game.
Good game.
Well, happily, none of the leads that Holmes followed are completely unknown to us. He just was better.
Yeah.
You just realized that the stones were actual characters.
Yeah.
Which, I guess...
Simpler.
Yeah.
Much
I
simpler.
should have been able to put that together because who was actually on the ship?
Yeah.
And then...
There was no other information about
Yeah.
that.
Well, the other
so-
thing was too, nothing happened on the ship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other than them watching over it, all they did was come with it.
And, well, and the
I
thing-
guess it makes sense that you wouldn't send this valuable statue across the ocean without somebody there to watch her.
Well, you know, we talked our way around it and made it more complicated. Time and time again, we said, well, someone had to have been there on the other end. It was Mr. and Mrs. Stone.
Yeah.
We kept trying
They
to
came
say,
with
like,
it.
oh, well, maybe Jennings was there or something like that. It makes way more sense for someone just to have already been there and then came with it. Oh, well. We still won.
Yeah, and it's our best score in this whole box so far.
We killed so many vampires, guys.
Yeah.
Good work.
Good work. PG.
Yes. Good deal. Okay. Thank you for playing. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Join us on Monday. Monday is my new video game type streaming night. I'm not sure what I'm going to play, but it should be fun regardless of what it is. Hi, Paulo. Join us on Tuesday for some more Dungeons & Dragons action, and join us again next Thursday for more Consulting Detects.